The challenges we face are complex. And that is exactly why our work is so vital. Our approach is bold, dynamic, intersectional. Each local YWCA works to meet the needs within their own communities, doing the day in and day out work of lasting, transformative change. And no matter how we get the job done, we're all unified around one vision of an equitable future, eliminating racism, empowering women. YWCA, celebrating 160 years of action and service.
Welcome to Community Spotlight. I'm your host, Leah Haslage. Today's Spotlight is on the YWCA of Greater Cleveland. Our guest is Margaret Mitchell, who is the president and CEO of the YWCA Greater Cleveland. Welcome, Margaret.
Good morning. It's good to be here, Leah.
Yeah, so I have to start off by saying happy 150th anniversary for the YWCA. Talk to us about the history behind how the organization got started.
Thank you. It is a big anniversary, and we were founded in 1868, so it was just, years after the Civil War. Mail was being delivered in Cleveland by Pony Express, and a group of Christian women came together to form what would be the 7th YWCA in the country to be formed right here in Cleveland. And they really believed that the Bible was their social justice tool, and they wanted to be the hands and feet for others. And they had a special focus on young unwed mothers. And the business was really called the bread and bed business that they were in. So providing those essential things, a bed for women and bread and food for women to eat. And those were the early focus. And several of notable women in Cleveland were involved in the organization. And I love saying that we are living our founders' greatest dream.
Just to expand in this way and help people that don't have a place to stay?
Yes, absolutely.
And tell us about the homelessness statistics and what's going on right now in the city of Cleveland and in Cuyahoga County.
Yes, so building on that bed and bread, here we are 150 years later, really, again, back with a focus on that very mission. And so we are very much focused on homelessness. We do have homelessness here in the city of Cleveland. It is certainly smaller than some cities if you compare us to Los Angeles or New York, but our numbers of seeing more than 4,000 young people, families, single men, single women, individual men and women homeless in our county is nothing that we want to see grow. Right. And we certainly have been a community where we have seen chronic homelessness decrease significantly over the past 10 years. Youth homelessness has been growing. We see about 400 young people who are homeless every year. And family homelessness is really growing in our community with numbers double that of youth homelessness. So, but we believe that we are very much focused on eradicating as a community homelessness, so that homelessness is something that is rare and brief. And numerous organizations are working on making that happening.
Yeah, you work with a lot of local agencies and the city of Cleveland.
We do work with lots of agencies. We've seen in our county, we've seen veteran homelessness really begin to bounce around what we call functional zero. which means that homelessness for veterans is rare and brief. And seeing the success that veteran homelessness has had, the collaborations that they have, we believe that we can do the same with others, with youth homelessness, chronic homelessness, which is mostly individuals, and family homelessness. And so it does take that collaboration. It takes working with both city organizations, City of Cleveland, the County of Cuyahoga, and individual nonprofits. And we believe we are really good at collaborating because it's essential for the outcomes.
Yes, definitely. Is there something that seems to be more of a reason that the homelessness situation or level is what it is? Is there one kind of common component to the homelessness?
I wish there was. I mean, if there was one component, it certainly would be a lot easier to eradicate. But what we're looking at is a very complex issue that drives homelessness. So you will see within homelessness, and the thing that we want to remember, and the thing that we are really driving within our organization and helping the community to understand, is that homelessness is a temporary state. Homelessness, people are experiencing homelessness temporarily. They are on a path into housing. But homelessness often comes from issues with mental health, so mental health crisis, issues around housing, issues around substance abuse, issues around domestic violence, issues around assault, and issues where there is a history of victimology. And so all of that, and then when you have people experiencing multiple issues or all of those issues all at once, paired with a loss of network. So what we see with homelessness is that the network is also, the network that an individual has is also often experiencing trauma or high rates of poverty. So, we have seen, I trying to think of the millionaire. They made a movie about him that Leonardo DiCaprio was in.
Yes.
What was his name?
I'm blinking the name of the movie as well too, but I know what you mean.
He was with Howard Hughes.
Oh yes,
Howard
yes,
Hughes, right? So here's Howard Hughes, right? Howard Hughes. He is clearly suffering from some significant mental illness.
Yes.
But he has a network and the wealth to be able to support his mental illness. When your network is not there, then that is when that last safety net, when family or friends are not able, they've been exhausted or they're no longer there, they have given up or they no longer have the resources. And in some instances, taking you in would be, in some housing, that's criminal. So when that breaks down, there's nowhere else for someone to turn, and homelessness results.
But then at least they have you to turn to. And you have so many programs for homelessness. So let's kind of break them down individually because they kind of do help in certain areas. First off, the NIA Independence Place. Tell us about that program.
Yep. So NIA, which we call NIA, stands for Nurturing Independence and Aspiration. And we have housing for young people at our offices at the YWCA. And our housing is for young people 18 to 24 who are formerly homeless. And young people come and are able to access our housing through our coordinated intake that we have in our county. And we work with young people, we house them, and then we work individually with each young person to help them identify their next step, help them identify their path to self-sufficiency. And it is absolutely amazing. No one wants to see young people become chronically homeless. And so we take young people who have really had their first experience with homelessness, we house them, and we begin to put them on a journey so that they never become homeless again. And that really is the big data that we are measuring with our young people. We don't want to see them return to homelessness. Right. And over the last 8 years, we've seen about 6% return to homelessness, which means that 94% are not becoming homeless again, which is an outstanding number and something we are very, very proud of. We really come alongside young people. We work very hard not to have power over them, but power with them to help them identify what they want to do, where they want to go, how they rebuild their network, rebuild family. We work with amazing organizations, we have amazing staff, and we really help to create family as they would define it. We help them to grow, and so we see young people who are now going to college. They're at Tri-C, they're at Baldwin-Wallace, they're at Kent. We are working to help young people re-engage with their family. We are working to help young people identify employment, and we're very much focused on livable wage employment, employment that is going to drive a career for them, and long-term employment growth. Because what we do know is that no one can sustain a household living on minimum wage in our city. Yeah. And so we really have to focus on the livable wage here in Cleveland, which is about $17 an hour.
That's a great point, and it's great that you guys are being a network for these young people. Another place is A Place for Me, so tell us about that.
A Place for Me is an initiative, an amazing initiative. It really is not a program, but a collective impact model, which is a fancy way of saying we do collaboration really, really well. And A Place for Me is looking at the systems that we have in place in order to end youth homelessness in our county. And like veteran homelessness before us, we really believe with A Place for Me, we can eradicate homelessness. So we work very closely with child welfare here in Cuyahoga County, so DCFS. They are a major partner for us. We work very closely with Frontline Services, another major partner, very closely with Eden, EDEN, another major partner, and Sisters of Charity. But I can't tell you, there are like 30 other agencies involved with us, all looking at themselves and what we need to do in order to change, to get the outcome of making sure homelessness is rare and brief. And that's what we mean by a functional zero. That we recognize that from time to time young people will become homeless, but we want it to be rare and brief. We want to have the systems in place to be able to support young people, get them into services and housing as quickly as we possibly can. And that's happening. It isn't happening at the rate we want, so we still have a high inflow of young people coming into homelessness, but we believe that we can identify both housing, services, and employment to help, and education to help young people get to where they need to be. And when we eradicate homelessness for young people, we also know that we're going to help, again, decrease the number of chronically adult homeless individuals. So A Place for Me is an amazing initiative, one that we're extremely proud of at the YWCA.
You mentioned Frontline, an opportunity, I won't call it a program, but more like an opportunity that you have taken on now is the NormaHer Women's Center, which I know Frontline was a part of. So tell us about NormaHer.
We are very proud, yes, to come behind our partner frontline service after they have been running NormaHer since 2004 and do an amazing job and really left opportunity for us. And they are so encouraging of our growth there at NormaHer and cheering us on as we add services to NormaHer to make sure that women in our community, some of the most vulnerable women in our community, have emergency shelter. And NormaHer is the largest shelter in the city of Cleveland for individual women. So there are no children there, but there are women from 18 to 80. And these are women who are fleeing from domestic violence, they're fleeing from sexual assault, they are struggling with their mental health, addiction. These women are truly, truly in crisis and experiencing homelessness, and the shelter is there. From May to October, we've had about an average of 200 women every single night. But we have been housing women as well, and I am so proud of the team there and the work that they have been doing. All of last year, before we took over the shelter, 88 women were exited into housing, 88 women. And in the first 6 months the YWCA has been on site, we have housed 110 women from the shelter. And so we're very proud of the work that is happening. I was there yesterday and there was a woman exiting and getting her own house, and we were just cheering her on, and it's amazing work that is happening. Lots of services. We've been able to increase the number of staff there, and that certainly has made a difference. So we're proud of the investment that the county and the city of Cleveland have made in us to be able to serve women. And I have to say that these are women without a voice. There are lots of, has been a year of women, a year when we have seen women raise their profile around so many issues that we care about.
Me Too movement.
The Me Too movement, and yet homeless women do not have a voice. And those are the women that we stand with and stand for and stand behind so that their voice can be heard in greater numbers. And so we're really, really proud and excited to be part of helping and supporting homeless women through NormaHer.
Since it is homelessness and they're probably coming with very little on their back, is there a way people can donate personal items, clothing to the different organizations and shelters that you offer?
Absolutely. They can reach out to us through info@ywcaofcleveland.org. That is a great way. We do have dedicated staff at the shelter who's able to receive donations and volunteers. We have a tremendous need for Tide Pod laundry detergent. We do have high efficiency machines, and so it's not the liquid but the pods that we need, and 200 loads of laundry are done every single day. And so we have a tremendous need for Tide laundry.
You mentioned the 18 to 24-year-old set
Yes.
earlier in the programs. A lot of those kids are coming from foster care. So what seems to be the biggest hurdle for them transitioning from foster care to now adulthood?
You know, we've done some amazing work, and we've also seen amazing changes at child welfare with emancipation at the age of 18. And so I'm so excited to always share that we are seeing lower numbers than ever before of young people leaving foster care. We're seeing almost no young people becoming homeless as a result immediately from leaving foster care. And they're always looking at their process in order to improve that. But we do see young people down the road. We see young people with foster care histories that are experiencing homelessness, and so we want to come alongside them. You know, foster care, what gets young people, what gets children into foster care is significant trauma. And child welfare really comes alongside families to support them at their worst time. And foster care certainly has challenges. It's a very, very difficult system. And trauma stays with young people for a lifetime. And trauma is something we're always wanting to build resiliency. And even though trauma literally rewires the brain of children, and certainly every child who has been in child welfare has experienced trauma and as a result had their brain rewired. And so there's difficulty from the brain with being able to manage and social emotional needs from within. But resiliency is a reality and it is possible, and we work so much on helping young people to rebuild their resiliency so that they can thrive as young adults. It is often a slower, longer process, right. But it happens, and we see young people having tremendous success as a result of resiliency.
I'm sure with you acting as a family and as a network, that kind of helps with that too, because it gives a level of comfort that they're not alone. You
are absolutely right. We always say that no one ever ages out of the YWCA. No one ages out of the YWCA. And we do create family, and we are very much focused on loving the young people that come to us. And we feel the same about every area that we work with. Love is an essential piece of what we do, and it is needed in order to rebuild people and help people see and love themselves and see their own worth.
One of the main goals of the YWCA is to empower women, and I know you have the Women's Leadership Luncheon and workshops. Tell us about those and how you aim to empower.
We do. I would say that our Women's Leadership Luncheon it's just an amazing opportunity in our community to celebrate women. We've been doing it for about 43 years of our 150-year history, and we honor women every single year and remind our community that it is the economic power of this community that is so important. We see that women are essential in absolutely every single phase of industry, whether it's politics, housing, banking, construction, our legal fields. Women are leading in every single area, and they are at the highest level of industry in our community and really are part of Cleveland's renaissance and what makes us thrive. And so we love the luncheon. We have about 1,000 people come out to celebrate women with us, and this year will be May 6th, and we're excited about it. Our theme this year is Empowered Women, Empower Women.
So you were talking right before this about how you don't age out, it's an all ages opportunity. What do you offer as far as childcare and early childhood education?
I'm so glad you asked, because we do have a preschool at the YWCA. It is of the highest quality. We're very proud of our preschool. We have amazing teacher staff. All of our teachers have 4-year degrees. All of our teachers are absolutely committed every day to delivering the highest quality preschool education for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. We also have what's known as early childhood mental health consultation, and we actually have a team of independently licensed therapists on staff at the YWCA, really working with both children, teachers, and parents. Because when children And I should say that last year, 89% of our families were homeless at the time they enrolled in our preschool. So we have a very unique model, really the only one of its kind in the city of Cleveland. We're a trauma-informed preschool. We really work in what's known as a two-generational model. So it's not just that we have parent engagement, but that we do it at such a deep level that we are also driving significant outcomes for parents and children in our preschool. We have a parent cafe, which is very much focused on building a peer network for families. You know, imagine parenting in a homeless shelter.
Right.
It is not an ideal situation. Imagine parenting when your network is in disarray. And so we very much focus on rebuilding that parenting network through our parenting cafe. But the preschool is amazing. I love it.
You light up over it.
It's just an exciting place, and it's a special team in the preschool, and the children are delightful. They are a sponge. They respond to the resiliency. Homelessness is a temporary state for them and their parents. Their parents are wanting to get on the path to self-sufficiency as quickly as they possibly can, and so it's wonderful. It's a great joy to be a part of it.
You're giving them hope.
They give us hope. We give each other hope.
Oh. Well, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to learn even more about the YWCA of Greater Cleveland. So stay tuned for more Community Spotlight.
One in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Welcome back to Community Spotlight. I'm your host, Leah Haslage. Today's Spotlight is on the YWCA of Greater Cleveland. Our guest is Margaret Mitchell, who is the president and CEO of the organization. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So we talked about a few different programs before the break, but there's even more offered. Talk to us about Quest and Boot Camp.
So we do have a Women's Leadership Institute. We think it's a really exciting opportunity to develop women leaders. And we have both nonprofit women and for-profit women engaged in our women's leadership. And so we have Quest, Boot Camp, and Momentum. And we offer 6-month cohorts. They're really educational and talent development cohorts. We have a curriculum and a faculty that we work with. We are entering into a new era and a new partnership with Ursuline College, and we'll be able to offer a leadership certificate with Ursuline for our Momentum class. And so we think this is a really important addition. Ursuline's 148 years old. We're 150,
so we're up there with you.
150 years old. We've both been focused on women and know the importance of developing women leaders, educating women leaders for the global community. Cleveland is so poised. Our companies are global. The work we do here is global. We are attracting global attention, and we know that the companies that are here want leaders who are prepared to lead in a global environment. And so our women's leadership really prepares leaders. Our Momentum work is for leaders who lead other leaders. Our Quest is for women who are leading teams of women, and our Boot Camp is for women who are influencers, often individual contributors. And our work is about both giving them the tools they need, and we really do pride ourselves with providing tools that women can take from a session, put into their tool bag, go back to the office, and use with their team and within their organization immediately. And so it's not just theory on leadership, although I think leadership theory is great, but I also know that it's important to give women the tools that they need to do the work immediately. And so it's really exciting work.
That is exciting. Now, how does the YWCA work to promote advocacy, inclusion, and public policy?
You know, our advocacy has often been embedded within the work that we're doing. As an example, A Place for Me has a very strong focus on advocacy and an advocacy agenda. That agenda really is around ending youth homelessness. And to that, we were very involved several years ago with House Bill 50, which Governor Kasich signed in June of 2015, moving the age of foster care in our community from 18 to 21. That bill has been signed, and so there is supports for young people in foster care now through the age of 21.
Wow.
And we've been very involved in making the bill a reality, because as you know, a bill is the first step, and then you have to really do the work to understand how it's going to become operational. And in our community, that lives through the Bridges program. And so Bridges is a statewide initiative. It is very robust here in Cuyahoga County, and Bridges provides housing dollars, educational dollars, and supports for families and individual young people through the age of 21, and healthcare really through the age of 26. And so it's exciting opportunity, and so advocacy, that is an advocacy success that we've been very involved with. We often work to help prepare young people or individuals to advocate. So being able to speak to legislature, being able to understand data, we want to empower others to be that advocacy arm and voice, and at the same time empower individuals around these issues. And so we're beginning to look at some advocacy issues around housing, so that we can increase the number of communities who are able to understand and accept individuals with housing vouchers, so that all communities can be more receptive to individuals in need of housing. There's a vibrancy. Communities are vibrant.
Yes.
When they are diverse, when that economic diversity is there, when racial diversity is there. That is the richness of Cleveland. And we need all of our communities open and experiencing that. So our next, I believe, our next housing or our next advocacy agenda will really be focused in on housing.
That's great. What do you think is something that people misunderstand, or there's a misconception about the YWCA?
I think one of the greatest misconceptions is really around the relationship between the YWCA and the YMCA.
Oh.
So we are not the YMCA, although at one time we were definitely married. We are no longer married to each other. We are great friends and support each other.
It's an amicable separation.
It is an amicable separation, but the YWCA is not linked to the YMCA. It's the W that makes the difference. And we are, I would say that 150 years ago, we were very much joined together. We were very much doing collaborative work in the space of men and women, young men and women, but we have not been together as an agency for some time. And our work, I would say that the YMCA is more focused in what we call the swim and gym. That is where you're going to see the greatest bulk of their focus and their work. And we certainly are much more focused on working with individuals, working to empower women from cradle to career, with a special focus on women who are experiencing homelessness.
We are 150 years in now. What can we expect for the next 150? What's in the future for YWCA?
I know, it's amazing to think about organizations that are going to be 300 years old, 250 years old. It's just mind-boggling. I think that we want to keep the legacy of women alive and well, the work that we have done to bring women into parity, equity, and equality, and never turn back from that. And we are on a path. Our voices are stronger and louder, and we want to be liberated. We don't just want a hand up. We want there to be true equality, and dream of a time when having a woman president is a normal state of being. Having the House, having the Congress, the Senate, and our representatives mirror our population in terms of women. Having our Fortune 500 list, or whatever it's called at the time, having 50% or more, 70% run by women, being able to see pay gaps eliminated, and yet helping women always to understand our history so that we never repeat where we've been, but continue to move forward for all people. And men are so important to this message and this dream.
What else would you hope that viewers learn or know about the YWCA?
Well, I hope you have learned that we love what we do. We are very much focused on achieving real outcomes. So it is not enough for us just to do the work. We really want to achieve transformation for individuals that we are working with. So we don't just count who came in the door, we count years of who has been able to achieve transformation in their lives and sustain transformation in their lives. And that is deeper, harder work, and we're proud of that.
How do we get more information on the YWCA of Greater Cleveland?
Visit our website and learn more about us. We are having regular volunteer orientations throughout the year, and you can find those on our website, and that's a great way to learn more about us and get involved. Come out to one of our gatherings or our events. We love that. Just would appreciate hearing from folks.
Thank you so much for being here, Margaret, and for everything that you and your team at YWCA does for the residents in our community. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for tuning into Community Spotlight. Of course, we'll have all this information for you on our website, tv20cleveland.com. I'm Leah Haslage. Till next time.